What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Michael Knapp Fishing. Today's video, we've got a not necessarily a modification again, but definitely a shortcut to make your life a heck of a lot easier when it comes to Carolina rigging. And it's so small, I've actually got it in my hand right now. A very, very simple modification slash technique, style, changing it, whatever. It's gonna make your life a lot easier. So let's dive into it, guys. All right, guys, so the old ball and chain, the Carolina rig, definitely not something we enjoy throwing. Probably something that not a lot of us do throw because it's very difficult to rig up, keep rigged up, and then if you lose it, gosh almighty, you've just lost, you know, your tungsten weight, your bead, your swivel. You know, you've lost all kinds of jazz down there. You're talking $3, $4, $5 depending on the weight that you're using of if you're using tungsten and stuff like that. It could vary of how much you lost. It's certainly not, you know, the likes of an Alabama rig of losing one of those, but nonetheless, it's still something that it takes time to rig for one, and that's more time on the water that you're losing. So I have a solution to that. It's a solution that I found a couple years ago, actually. I've been fishing this for a while now. I wanted to really use it and understand it and see if it made a difference or not. And yes, I'm still holding it in my hand. I just want to know if it was going to work the way I thought it would work. Because before this, I did not throw a Carolina rig. I didn't want to throw a Carolina rig. I didn't like throwing a Carolina rig because I didn't want to take the time to rig it up and then I'd have to lose everything, yada yada yada. I didn't want to do it. So when I found this, I was like, oh man, I might actually be able to force myself to Carolina rig and I might actually like it now. So what I'm talking about is a Carolina rig pre-rig. This is a pre-rigged Carolina rig. I believe this exact one is made by Strike King, maybe. I can't remember if that's correct or not. There's 2 or 3 brands out there that make some that I really like. But this bad boy comes completely rigged in the pack. This is a 3/4 ounce. I got a pack of 2, and I want to say it was only like $4. Like, it really wasn't very expensive at all. So, I mean, it's exactly what it looks like. It's just a Carolina rig. You're going to tie your main line here. Your main line comes down and connects here. So as you're dragging it, you know, kind of back to the Tokyo rig video, you want to drag the bullet point of your weight. So yeah, it's a fat weight and it doesn't really look too much like a bullet point, but you can see it's tapered down here. And that's the part that you want dragging over rock and everything. And then you have a bead down here. The bead just makes noise. It's all the beads for on this because you don't really need it. You know, back in the day, before using this, like me, I had to have a bead on there to protect my knots and everything because I didn't want this brass weight knocking up against it and potentially breaking the line. So after the bead, you then have another hook here, and then you've got your swivel. This is a very heavy duty swivel. I've yet to break one, and I've actually set the hook on quite some pretty large rocks. But you're not going to break that swivel easily. And then you just tie your leader to the swivel here, and then you can have your leader however long you want. Hook, bait, Carolina rig is complete. So when it comes to this bait, I know a lot of people are like, well, do you actually use it? What's the hookup style? You know, what's the hookup ratio on it? Does it make a difference? Does it feel different? So yeah, it does feel a little bit different because for one, this is old school brass. You're not using tungsten. I'm not a fan of using tungsten for the Carolina rig. Now, if I'm in a tournament situation, it might be a little different of a story. but 9 times out of 10, I'm still gonna use this brass. Mostly because I throw a Carolina rig in some ridiculously heavy rock. And I'm talking boulder to chunk rock to pea gravel, nasty, nasty stuff. Someplace that I know I'm probably gonna lose 2 or 3 of these in a tournament. So I tend to not throw tungsten on there just because of, you know, a tungsten weight, a 3/4 tungsten weight costs probably about $1.50, $2. I got this whole rig for $2. Does it compromise your feel? Not as much as you would think. You know, I know a lot of people are just tungsten's the only way to go. Tungsten, 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 only way to go. Well, a lot of the old timers and a lot of the sticks out here, they're actually still using lead for this as well, because the lead is a little bit more malleable. So if you do get hung up a little bit, you have a greater chance of pulling it out and maybe bending that lead a little bit and getting the weight back. With the brass here, it's nowhere near as malleable, that's for sure. Now, yet again, it's not as dense as tungsten, I don't feel, but you're still gonna feel your bites. You're still gonna be able to get those real subtle, you know, a Carolina rig bite. It's mushy. It doesn't, you know, it's not always just like a hard knock. It's mushy sometimes. You're still gonna feel that with this. I still really like it. It transfers the bite really well through the swivel and the metal. You still feel it really well, in my opinion. I feel like you do. But I also fish the Carolina rig a little bit differently. I don't go with these crazy extravagant hooks or anything. I use a real basic worm hook. If I go to a crawl or something, I'll go to an EWG hook. But I don't use these real large extravagant baits that you're gonna kind of lose a little bit of feel for it. I use an X-Zone lure center stick a lot. I'll use a lizard sometimes. I'll use I really like the X-Zone lures hog hunter. I'll use that from time to time as a brush hog style of a bait. But I won't get too crazy with my baits. From time to time, I will put a crawl back there and I'll use the EWG hook, but it's not like a super large crawl. So you'll still be able to pick that bite up and still detect it a little bit. But the whole point of this video is this rig right here. I don't really know what it's called because like I said, I bought I think like 10 packs of these back 3 years ago, and I just never looked back, and I haven't had to buy more because I don't use the Carolina rig a whole lot. But when I do, I don't really lose them so much either, because you're pulling on that wire and it actually comes out a whole lot easier. Now, especially if you get right over top of it, the way that weight swivels back and forth, it just pops it right up, and it's going to prevent you from losing a whole lot of baits as well by using this rig. Anyway, guys, like I said, not always going to be modifications, going to be tips, tricks, but modifications to the fishing game that are going to allow you a little bit easier time out there on the water and stuff like that. But anyway, guys, go down there to the comment section below. Let me know, do you all use this rig? You know, it's something that I really do enjoy using, but I want to hear from you all. Do you use this, or are you just a hardcore, I'm gonna do it the old way, not gonna change? But also, do you even throw the Carolina rig? I know a lot of people have chose not to throw the Carolina rig anymore. They've opted out for the Tokyo rig, Texas rig, jig bite, stuff like that. But there are times that this cannot be beaten. Anyway, guys, I really hope that kind of gave you a little bit of insight of how I Carolina rig. I had a few people asking me about it on Instagram and even a YouTube video. But anyway, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment down in the comment section below. I will see you all out on the water. Take care, guys.